Black Monday. And I'm starting with this guy first because I don't think it's fair to just call it Black Monday and go straight to Brian Flores. So David Gettleman, I'm serious.
Okay, but you
name.
don't have to make the connection. Just let it be. But
Let it be. Ooh, let it. Okay, Dave. I always call him David. Dave Gettleman retired. Congratulations, Mr. Glenn Kaplan, for being one of the peer pressuring bullies that got this man out of town, okay? The man picked Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones isn't terrible, we found out. The man picked, God, what the hell is he? Saquon Bar. Okay, let me lie. He's been terrible, okay? He signed Kenny Galladay to a gigantic contract. They capped, our very own Captain Lou called out, and he was 1,000% correct on that. But this was New York media doing this. This was New York fans doing this. I mean, the guy, he's just going to retire just like that. That's it. Like, you're not even going to try to do it again. He was a part of 2007, 2011, and because he had such a terrible time, he's just going to say, "Oh, screw it, I'm done." Come on,
well,
man.
that's the other question, though. Do you believe that he actually retired voluntarily?
I feel like Joe Judge still being the coach is why they fired him, or why they're telling him to. I think if he had fired Joe Judge, I think he stays with the team.
I mean, the ownership group can still come in and fire Joe Judge,
which I think they're going to do now.
That's quite possible. Absolutely, it's probably time to move on and figure out a new path, because anybody they bring in, Joe Judge isn't their guy. So
I'm going to laugh if Brian Flores stinks up the joint.
What do you mean?
I'm going to laugh because all these Twitter animals are saying, "Oh, well, Brian Flores is going to get an even better job. They're going to appreciate him." I said, "Okay, go to the Giants and see what happens."
Yeah, I mean, the question really is, like you said, okay, Joe Judge, like, you have Daniel Jones going to be coming off a serious neck injury into prove it, basically, into his prove it year. You have Saquon Barkley, who's 6 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards, or 6 total yards until he breaks off a 50-yarder. Like, is there a foundation there for a new coach? I think yes, and I think yes, but I think also
they build an offensive line.
You've got to come in and you probably got to nail 4 of the first 5 moves, which, like you said, offensive linemen, probably some pass rushers, and I think the receivers are there. I just don't know what the problem. It's hard to really figure out what the problem is, because if you say it's not Daniel Jones, and if the offensive line gets beefed up and it is Daniel Jones, then you're set back again, a new GM setback with having to draft another quarterback. It's a weird situation in New York, because I don't think they're on paper a bad team. They just don't execute, and that might be where a new coach and a new GM could come in and just freshen up things. A little Febreze.
Oh, they need a tough wide receiver too. I don't like any. I mean, all the wide receivers are just kind of good names, but
I like Tony.
Oh, I like Kadarius Toney too. But I'm saying I think they need a tough in traffic guy who's just gonna be reliable and not miss any games.
Well, until you said that last part, I would have offered up Michael Thomas.
Right. Okay. Black Monday, Brian Flores getting Twitter support, and what broke the camel's back here? Because I think the handling of Tua and the 1-7 start is going to hang over this man's head, and that's why he lost his job.
It's really hard to say, because last year, the handling of Tua, like you said, they forced him in a game where Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing well, and I thought that maybe that it was the wrong spot for Tua. Yes, they won a couple of games. It was based on defense. Tua wasn't playing well, and they performed pretty well in the second season. Then obviously Ryan Fitzpatrick's gone. Tua comes in. They start 1-7. It seemed like a head scratcher at the time, but I can't imagine that's the straw that broke the camel's back, is the mishandling of Tua. Something just seems quirky about this one. Like, it felt like, they just never really something. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know exactly what the one thing is that it just seems like unfinished business right now. I think a 4th season would have done some good here. And even if you gave him half a season, like the 1-7 start was probably where, if you were going to fire Flores, it made the most sense. Because I think if you fired Flores after the 1-7 start, you could say, okay, here's the situation. But now you're firing him after basically
After they beat the Patriots and won all the
8-1
Super Games.
finish or whatever it is, 8-1 finish. It looks bad. And no matter who you get now you're compared to a coach like this is almost Jim Caldwell all over again, unfortunately. Like, he's going to be kind of this unofficial hero, but really, did he even do anything of great merit? Like, we don't know. I don't necessarily know if Brian Flores is a great coach. But I know that he probably didn't deserve to get fired. But and like you said, maybe he'll bounce on his feet and get something better.
Oh, well, that's not what I'm saying. That's what Twitter's saying.
Okay.
I would not have fired him personally, but I can also see the reasoning behind it at the same time. But I'm not going to say it's a terrible firing. I just think I would have probably. But I think with the Tua thing, it's funny how once Tua played more than 5 games in a row, they started winning. Not saying Tua was playing great, but it's funny how the rookie quarterback kind of settled down. Well, the young quarterback kind of settled down after a while. It's weird how that works.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like what Tua does next year, or even if a new coach comes in, and how does this affect like if Deshaun Watson wants to come here anymore?
They said that's huge because that was the reason he wanted to go. There was Brian Flores, supposedly.
Maybe so.
Vic Fangio got 5 of the Broncos. Are you surprised? I am.
A little. What he did with those 2 guys at quarterback was relatively impressive, but I think the window's closing on them with that defense. I mean, they already traded away Von Miller. The defense is still pretty good. 2 solid running backs. I don't know if Melvin Gordon sticks around, but they've got a decent running back there, good receivers. If they can get a new coach and a new quarterback, and they can have success in the AFC West, it might make sense. But they're definitely a full step behind at least 2, if not probably 3, all 3 of those teams in the AFC.